Hi lovelies, welcome back to my channel. But if you are new here, hi, my name is Taylor. Thank you so much for joining me. In today's video, I'll be creating this super trendy nail art design. This is the sweater nail art trend, which is popping all over Instagram right now. It's a really easy design to create, cute and perfect for this time of the year. So if you're ready to see how I create this design, then let's go. Getting right into today's video, I'm starting with my cuticle prep and I'm taking this flat top tapered diamond cuticle bit, which will be available on our website really soon. Keep posted on my community tab and let you guys know when it's available for purchase. I've loved this bit, guys. I've been using it and I've been testing it because I've been trying to find that perfect cuticle bit for you guys. And this one is definitely one that I approve of and I absolutely love because it does have that flat top. It's not sharp to say that it's going to cut you. Of course, once we're working with any drill bit, we need to be careful on the nail plates, but this is definitely going to reach into all those hard to reach places around those sidewalls and around that cuticle area nice and tight so that we get all the dead cuticle off of the nail, which is then going to help us to prevent lifting. Now, I would always recommend cuticle prep. Cuticle prep is crucial because it does get up all that invisible dead cuticle that is attached to the nail plate that is not visible to the eye. So as you guys can see, I'm getting a lot of dead cuticle up. I have not done my nails in months. So it feels really good to actually sit and do my nails today. And before I forget, I am working with my e-file at 4,000 RPMs for this because this is where I feel most comfortable. And I am using the Kiara Sky Beyond Pro rechargeable e-file. So now that I'm finished with my cuticle prep, I am taking the Kiara Sky mandrel bit and their black medium grit sanding band, and I'm going to use this to remove the shine off of the nail plate. I do like to go around the cuticle area and sidewalls again, just to make sure there's no shine in those areas, because let's be honest, those are the areas that are prone to lifting. So I'm just making sure that I take my time and do my prep thoroughly so I don't have any issues with that. I am still working with my e-file at 4,000 RPMs. Now I'm not putting any added pressure on the e-file. I am allowing the e-file to do the work. I'm making sure to keep my e-file parallel to the nail plate at all times. Anytime I hold my e-file at an angle, it is going to cause indentations on my nail plate and I don't want to do that. I'm also constantly moving this e-file around so that way I get all the shine off of the nail plate without any heat spikes or rings of fire or over filing one part of my nail plate more than the other. Now I'm just taking my hand file, and this is the Kiara Sky 100 grit hand file, and I'm just lightly shaping my natural nails. I don't need to go in with a nail clipper because I barely have any nails to begin with. So I'm just making sure the corners of my nails are tapered in so when I apply my nail tips you don't see it. So I am going to go ahead and apply my nail tips. Today I'm using the Not Polish XXL C-Curve tip. This one is the square shape, but as you guys can see, my thumbnail is too big. So I am taking my straight edge nail clippers that you can find on my Amazon storefront, and I did sort of make a mental measurement as to where I wanted to cut. So I'm trying to make it as even as possible on both sides. I go ahead and I measure up the nail tip to make sure that it fits perfectly from sidewall to sidewall. And then I'm just going to take my nail clipper and follow through with that line, keeping it as even as possible all the way to the free edge of the nail extension. Now, because this nail was bigger than the actual finger, it is going to take away some of that C-curve, but it is going to remain with more of a natural C-curve, which is what I really like. So now I'm just taking this nail glue that I purchased from my nail supply store, and I'm going to carefully apply my nail tips, making sure that they are nice and straight. I do like to hold my hand up to keep my fingers straight enough when I'm applying the nail tips, because just in case my finger is like crooked, the nail is actually going to apply straight and they're all going to go in the same direction. So that way I can tell if one is crooked or not. This is not my favorite nail glue. It's not the one that I reach for all the time. It does hold, it does work, and it's what I have at the moment. I do love the McCart nail glue. However, I am all out of that right now. So I am going to be placing an order really soon to restock on that. So that is why I'm using this one temporarily. My nails are on and they're nice and straight. I am going to trim them down with my nail tip cutters that you can find on my Amazon storefront. Now, I was going to do these nails like more on the short to medium side, but after cutting my thumb, I realized nope, that was too short. I haven't done nails in forever and I need to get these nails nice and long. So that's why I'm just going in and trimming down the rest of the nails to the length that I want. However, I do trim the pinky nail last because sometimes if you trim that pinky nail first, it ends up being way too short. So that way I can measure it up with the rest of the nails and then all the nails can actually measure up to the same length. So taking the Kiara Sky 8080 grit rectangular hand file, I am just going to file the sides of the extension as well as the free edge of the tip because sometimes using the nail tip cutters, they do end up sort of crooked. So I'm just going to straighten that out, and I'm also using the file to lightly blend in the nail tip into my natural nail plate.
But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like she's forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like this whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go.
So I went ahead and prepped the rest of my nails off camera and I did remove the excess dust. So now I'm taking a lint-free wipe and some alcohol and I'm going to cleanse my natural nail plate. This is going to act as my dehydrator. Next, I'm taking the Kiara Sky acid-free primer and I'm going to be applying this to the natural nail plate. Now the consistency of this primer is a little bit different and this is actually the first time that I'm using it because I'm testing it out and it's more like a jelly. So for me to apply this nice and thin, I am really scrubbing it into my nail plate and I am only going to be applying one coat of this primer today and we're going to see how long these nails last with it. Usually I apply 2 coats, but seeing as this doesn't really dry like as dry as I would like my primers to dry, it does stay tacky, then I'm just going to apply my acrylic right on top of it. And today, as you guys can see, I am not applying a thin layer of clear acrylic to the nail plates. What is going on? What is going on? Yes, I've always applied a thin layer and I wanted to see if this primer will actually make a difference when it comes to lifting by putting the Kiara Sky product right on top of it, seeing as it is their primer. So I am starting with the Cover Acrylic Powder by Kiara Sky. This is called Rose Water and I did apply a medium-sized bead right where the nail extension and my natural nails meet. I then patted that bead out from side to side and I started patting and working the acrylic as far to the free edge as possible. Now I did need a smaller bead of acrylic, so I just placed a small bead right on top of the medium-sized bead where it stopped and I continued patting my acrylic. I don't like stroking my acrylic. I do prefer to pat the acrylic in place. This is just going to ensure that I get enough thickness at the tip of the nail that I want and that I don't remove any excess product, because the more you stroke your acrylic, it is just going to completely wipe that product off of the nail and you're going to have to consistently keep adding beads on top of beads on top of beads, which is a waste of product. So I did need another small bead at the tip and I also went in with a small bead on top of the first bead that I placed down, which is where the nail extension and natural nail meet. So now that I'm happy with the thickness of that area, I'm starting to work back towards the cuticle area. So I am working with small to medium sized beads because I have more control over my acrylic application this way. I am holding my finger downward, as you guys can see, so that product is not going to run back into the cuticle. However, I am also taking my brush using the tip of the bristles and I'm going to sort of tuck in the acrylic into my sidewalls, so this way it's sealed in. Doing this does also make it a lot easier when it comes to finish filing because you are sealing in the acrylic into your natural nails with the brush while the product is still wet. So I did need a little bit more product because I found like the stress area wasn't thick enough. But I also don't do my nails extremely thick because I usually just keep my nails on for like a week and a half before soaking them off. And with these C-curve nail tips, you really don't need that much product on them because that nail tip is already curved. It does have a structure to it. So basically, I'm just applying the acrylic thick enough so that the nails don't look extra bulky. Now, another thing with this is that I'm not going to be encapsulating these nails, so I am using the cover acrylic to build up the strength of the nail. If it is that I was not going to do this, then I would just apply a thin layer of the cover acrylic and then build the strength of the nail with my clear acrylic powder. But honestly, I don't really like doing that when I'm working with nude acrylic powders. They are strength powders. Sometimes when you encapsulate a nude acrylic, it gives you a sort of shadow underneath it. So if you're going to leave that nude exposed, I will definitely recommend not encapsulating it. But if you're going to cover it up with gel polish or nail art, then you can definitely encapsulate. So I did apply this nude acrylic powder to my thumb, my ring finger, and my index finger. I also applied a glitter to the entire pinky nail. I didn't like it after I applied it, but the footage for that nail was more or less out of frame, as well as the application on the ring finger, but it's just the exact same thing that I'm doing. So I did not include those clips in the video because it was just so irritating to look at because it was out of focus. Not out of frame, but out of focus. So after I'm happy with the application, I am going to just be encapsulating the glitter that I applied on my pinky. However, I'm not exactly sure where I got this glitter from. I just saw it and I really liked the shade of it. So therefore, I decided to incorporate it in this set. After encapsulating it and seeing the entire set come together is when I really fell in love with it. Because while doing the application, I was like, do I want to soak this nail off and like apply a different glitter mixture, or do I want to cover it up with something else? But I ended up just leaving it as it is. Now for my application today, I am using my Kira Sky number 12 acrylic brush. I'm using their clear all-in-one powder, as well as I mentioned before, their cover acrylic in the color rose water, and I'm using the Kira Sky monomer. So I'm using all Kira Sky products in this video for my base application.
She's putting all of her cards down on the table, knowing there's no way that you'll be able to win this one. But she's somebody else in the making. First, she just gotta stop all the faking, and she'll be there. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like she's forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like she's whenever she leaves her safe space. She leaves her safe space. Wondering if it is forever, or is there some place that will make her feel better? Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go. That's where she'll go. Somebody said, don't be afraid of loving yourself, 'cause that is all you got in the end. You got in the end. But she's wondering if it's gonna feel like she's forever. Wondering if it's gonna feel like she's whenever she leaves her safe space.
On my pinky nail as well as my middle finger, I did apply a thin layer of clear acrylic. This is just going to act as that protective layer between my natural nail and the application when it's time for me to change out these glitter nails. Taking these really pretty leaves that I picked up from the VERONIQUE'S shop, and I am going to just be applying 3 of them to the tip of the nail. So I sort of wanted to give off the effect as though these leaves are sort of falling from the cuticle area to the free edge of the extension. So the tip of the nail is more or less going to remain nice and clear. I do use my clear acrylic really wet to secure these leaves in place, and once it is the acrylic starts to set, those leaves are not going to move. So I did pick up a bead of my clear acrylic and then I dipped it into the container that I have those leaves in. Once that acrylic is still wet, I can position these leaves where I want it, but I sort of want a cluster of those leaves in this area. So the acrylic is going to start binding the leaves together. Once it is, I make sure and keep the acrylic nice and wet. Because these glitters are also on the chunky side, I did take like one of my plastic baggies and hold it to the nail to sort of bend them so that they set nice and flat to the acrylic.
Wondering if it is forever, or is there someplace?
Now, this is how you're supposed to hold it. Make sure that your nails are nice and flat, but I accidentally pinched the acrylic, so it sort of messed up the positioning of the leaves. So now I'm just taking my wet acrylic and I'm putting the leaves back in place. But I can't take off the ones that I already have on because they already started to set. So I'm just going to be adding leaves in certain areas where I find that it looks appealing, and once I'm happy with it, I do allow the clear acrylic to set those leaves in place before I encapsulate. Anytime I go in and encapsulate this nail while that acrylic is still wet and those leaves can be shifted and moved, then that is just going to cause a big mess, and we don't want to do that.
Make her feel better. Make her feel better. Then that's where she'll go.
I was worried at first when I started doing that middle finger, but I absolutely love how it looks. So now I am going to start encapsulating with the Kara Sky all-in-one clear acrylic powder. Now because these glitters are chunky, as I mentioned before, I'm starting with my clear acrylic really wet. Having the clear acrylic wet, it's going to seep into any excess spaces around those leaves and it's going to fully encapsulate them. It's also going to prevent bubbles in my clear acrylic. Whenever you're encapsulating, you do not ever want to work with dry beads of clear acrylic, nor do you even want to work with like medium beads. You want to keep it nice and wet. The less you move the acrylic is the better for you, so it's not going to cause any bubbling or any discoloration or any cloudiness or anything like that. I keep my acrylic really nice and wet whenever I'm encapsulating, and you can tell if you have missed a spot once encapsulating, especially glitters. You see where it gets matte once that acrylic hits it, and you see where it stays shiny. So in this case, I didn't have enough product at the tip of this nail, so therefore I went in with an extra bead at the free edge just to make sure that those pieces closer to the free edge of the extension are fully encapsulated. Another thing, once encapsulating any design, I do encapsulate those nails a little bit thicker than how I would apply my acrylic to ensure once it is I go in to file, I definitely do not file the glitters away.
Talking to myself 'cause I don't know what I want. Yeah, I'm here talking to myself like someone's gonna respond. I'm getting tired of myself 'cause I don't know what I want. But I'm not out here on my own.
Now that my acrylic is set, I am going to start by filing these babies back into shape. Now you do know when the acrylic is set when you hear that tapping sound. One thing that I like to do is start filing the first nail that I started applying acrylic on. So in this case, I did all the nude applications first. So I am going to be filing those nails and then I'll file the pinky nail, which is what I did after. And the last nail that I'm going to file is my middle finger. So I am taking the Kara Sky rechargeable e-file once again, and I'm using it with the 5-in-1 silver medium bit, and I do have my e-file at 7,000 RPMs. So I'm using this to make sure that cuticle area is nice and flush by sealing it in with this bit, and then I'm going to go quickly throughout the entire nail surface in a vertical direction to remove any imperfections in my acrylic application. Now working in this direction is going to prevent that drill bit from slipping, and it's also going to cover more nail surface when you file this way. I'm constantly looking at my nails from every single possible angle to ensure that I'm getting that shape that I'm looking for. Once I'm happy with it, I'm just going to continue the same process to the rest of my nails.
On the run from my given disaster. Speed away from the holy mind. Pride. I swear I never thought it would matter. If I'm gone by now, all my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good. pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head, don't feel my spark between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. In the heat from a hot California, I forgot how you look like in rain. I swear I never thought it would matter if I'm gone by now. All my weakness keep on linger on repeat like it will be my favorite song. Oh, I know I should be moving on, but you got me good, you got me good. I keep on driving till it bends, still it feels like I pretend. Keep on driving and driving along the road tonight. Lost my head, don't feel my spark between the jars and bottle jack. Just me and all the red lights. Keep on driving and driving. All the memories just lingers on repeat like it is never gonna stop.
With my Kiara Sky 80 grit rectangular hand file, I'm going to use this to reshape my nails. So I do start with the sidewalls and I'm making sure that that is nice and sharp, and then I go over the free edge of the nail extension. Now once it is you're looking at your nails from a side profile, you do want to make sure there's a seamless transition where your natural nail stops and where the extension begins. So definitely keep that in mind when you're filing your side profiles. You do not want to over file your sidewalls. Continuously keep moving from one side to the next. It may sound crazy, but in my mind I sort of count when I'm filing on each side to make sure that I keep it even on both sides and I don't accidentally over file one side. So after doing that, I'm taking the Kiara Sky 80 100 grit pink buffer block and I'm just going to go over these nails and make sure everything is nice and smooth, because I am going to be going on top of these nails with some nail art. So now that I'm finished filing, I am taking a lint-free wipe with some alcohol and I'm just going to be cleansing the nail, getting it ready for my nail art design. Now you can wash your hands at this point. It is a personal preference. I do not wet fresh acrylics. It's something that I learned in the early stages when I first started doing nails and it stuck with me to this day, and alcohol really does cleanse these nails really well. So today I'm sharing with you the Madame Glam's gel paint kit. Now if you guys saw my cute patched up teddy bear tutorial, I did use these paints in that video and I was testing it out before I recommend it to you guys, and let me tell you, I have not been able to put them down. These are highly pigmented no wipe gel paints. You cure it for 1 minute in an LED light and 2 minutes in a UV light, and it is a small pot but a little does go a really long way. You do get 5 ml in each pot and they do come really nicely sealed up. However, I would prefer it come with an easier way to get that foil off, but it doesn't. Once you get it off, it's off, but that's it. That's the only problem that I had with it, is removing those foils on top. So you do get a black, a white, a brown, a pink. You get your primary colors, which is the red, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blue, and a purple. And then it also includes a gold and silver. So I will have this linked in my description box below, and I love the case that it comes in as well. It's a magnetic flap, which makes storing these so freaking easy. I love that. So if you're in the market for some good quality gel paints, I will definitely recommend this kit. Now it's finally time for us to start that sweater nail art trend. I'm using the Madame Glam's brown gel paint, and I'm starting by drawing my French, taking my long striper brush from the Veronique's shop, and I'm just outlining my smile line. Once I'm happy with the way that it looks and it's nice and centered, I'm taking the applicator brush also by Madame Glam, and I'm filling in the tip of that nail. After I do this, I am going to pop this into the light and I'm going to cure it for a full minute. Once that nail is fully cured, I'm taking my Kera Sky Velvet Matte Gel Top Coat and I'm applying this to the entire nail. I'm wiping any of that excess gel off the sides to help to maintain my nail shape, and I'm going to cure this again for another minute because I personally feel that a matte base really does bring out the sweater design even more. Once this nail is out of the light, I'm taking the same brown gel paint and I'm creating that sweater effect. Starting at the center of the nail tip, I'm using my long fine striper brush. This one is by Madame Glam. You all already know it is one of my favorites. It's not a stranger to the channel. I'm creating some short swirl lines, keeping them close together without touching. And I do just like to eyeball this. Now there's a much easier way to achieve this look, but because I'm just doing it on a French tip, it's easy for me to just freestyle it. However, if I was doing it on the entire nail, I would have used the other method to achieve the sweater effect. And as that paint is still wet, I'm going to be pouring some of my clear acrylic to create that texture effect. Then I'm going to flash cure this nail for 15 seconds. Now with that flash cure, it is going to cure the nail enough for me to remove the excess acrylic without messing up my design. Now back in with that brown gel paint again. I'm adding 2 lines on each side of the print in the center of my French. On that wet acrylic again, I'm going over those lines with my clear acrylic, then I'm going to flash cure. I do like flash curing in between each part of my nail art design because I'm known to mess it up, so this is just like a safety precaution for me. And finally, on the sides of the nails, I'm just adding some dashes, and over that wet gel paint, I'm sprinkling on my clear acrylic once again. And this time I'm going to be curing this nail for a full minute. So after this nail is cured, I did remove the excess acrylic and this is what it looks like. It's absolutely stunning. So now I'm going to go ahead and repeat the exact same steps on my index finger.
What's your story? What's your sign? It's like we're twin flames in a different life. Deep connection lights a spark. It's like you know me in the depths of my heart. We're dreamers. Don't care what other people say. We live it like this could be our final day. We're dreamers. Don't care what the others say. We're doing this in our way. We come alive. Somehow I wanna know all about you. Deep connection lights a spark. You already know me when we dance in the dark. We're dreamers. We're living. We're dreamers. We're doing this in our own way. We come alive in the nighttime. It's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. Oh, we come alive. We come alive. We come alive. Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look in your eyes. Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look in your eyes. We come alive. We come alive. We come alive in the nighttime. There's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. There's something about how we dance in the moonlight. That look in your eyes, it tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. We come alive. We come alive. What's your weakness? What's your type? Somehow I wanna know all about you. Deep connection lights a spark. You already know me when we dance in the dark. We're dreamers. We're living. We're dreamers.
On my ring finger, I am going to be doing a plaid nail design. So starting with my long striper brush and the white gel paint by Madame Glam, I'm going to be drawing a long line from cuticle all the way to the free edge of the nail extension. I did want this line to be a little bit wide, so I am drawing the two outer lines, and I'm going to take a fine detailer brush and I'm just going to be filling in that line. Now I do like to take a fine brush and make sure that my cuticle area when it comes to doing lines is nice and even, and this just makes everything look so much neater. So after I do this, I am going to give it a cure for 30 seconds.
Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look in your eyes. Tell me that you want me. I can see you want me by the look.
Next, I'm going in with the same liner brush and the white gel paint once again, and this time I'm doing a line across the nail, so it's also wrapping around that nail. I did choose to go closer to my cuticle area for this one, and after doing those two white lines, I am going to cure this for a full minute.
Tells me that you want me and all my loving. We come alive in the nighttime. You and I, we come alive. Oh, we come alive. We come alive. Oh, we come alive. We come alive.
Next, I'm taking my long striper brush and this time with the black gel paint, and I'm going to be doing 3 stripes on that white. Now I do like to start with the center stripe just to make sure that the other 2 ends up really nice and even. When I was doing this set, I had a really bad case of the shakes. As you guys can see, my pinky finger is literally shaking and I don't know why. Like, it was so annoying. So again, I did flash cure that for 30 seconds.
Calling me sweet, telling me you need me. Said I'm from a city that's high school. I give them this and the more I go. Cause you a bad money, she don't love money. She break grass real fast like conman. When it's been down.
And I'm taking the same black gel paint and we're going to repeat that same thing to the line across the nail. However, when I did the second stripe, I did sort of mess it up and I thought, okay, I'll make it thicker so that way it'll cover it up. But no, sis. No, that didn't work. So I did have to go in with the Madam Glam applicator brush and some acetone. I do prefer to clean up gel paints with acetone because they're so pigmented. Sometimes the alcohol, you just have to go over it a few times to make sure that you clean it completely off of the nail. So because they're so pigmented, I do prefer to clean up with my acetone. And that is exactly what I'm doing. So I'm just working that line until I'm happy with the thickness of it. And then I'm just going to add the third line on the stripes across. And I'm going to cure this again for another minute.
It is hard to resist cause I need ya. And it's hard, baby, yeah, cause I believe ya. Hold me tight, holding on tonight. Holding a couple, get to you clean and proper. Way I move, I know we can love her. You gonna have me on your mind forever. Ever, thanks, baby. Turn it down like a sweet and ready. Go slow, keep it nice and steady. Know that you've been keeping patience. Too bad I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand.
So now that everything is fully cured, I'm taking that same striper brush and I'm applying a brown line down this side of the nail. Like doing this nail, I really wasn't happy with my lines, so I did do a lot of cleaning up, which is fine. I just went in with the same applicator brush and I did choose to use the applicator brush from Madam Glam because it's nice and flat, so it's going to help me to crisp up my lines. And I do this before I pop the nail into the light.
Why you tryna find the pieces when you rip it off? Why I like when you sit you when you take it off? Yeah, you know that I'm bad.
And now I'm applying another brown line closer to the tip of the nail extension. Again, when I'm happy with that, I'm going to pop it into the light and I'm going to cure again for just 30 seconds. I keep curing for 30 seconds just to make sure that I hold the nail design in place and none of the colors actually bleed into the next one. So after I do that brown line, I'm taking the gold gel paint from Madam Glam and I am going to be applying it closer to my cuticle area but a little way from the white and black lines that we drew across the nail. And I'm running a gold line down the far left of the nail as well. When I'm happy with the way that everything looks, I go ahead and give it a full cure for 2 full minutes.
And she break grass real fast like conman. Wanna swim down to the deep end. Wanna know all my secrets, honestly. Can you keep it real close?
And when that's dry and it's out of the light, I'm going to apply my Kira Sky acrylic gel top coat and I'm going to cure that again for a full minute.
You know your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind. I know you stand it how you taking all my time. Left, right, can you take it all night? Too bad I've been sticking out your mind. I know you like it how I rock it from behind.
So I did decide that I wanted to add some rhinestones to the cuticle area of my sweater French tips and I wanted that cuticle area to be glossy. So I'm starting off with the not polished diamond gel glue and I'm applying that to the cuticle area, positioning these crystals exactly to the center of my nail, making sure that it's nice and straight, and then I flash cure this to hold it in place. And these rhinestones that I'm using are by Kira Sky. They are called Whiskey Business. And everything that I use in today's video will be linked and listed in my description box below, as well as my discount codes. So if I mention anything in today's video and you guys are interested, definitely check the description box. It has the entire list of products that I used in today's video. After positioning my stones where I wanted, I did use some gold accessories as well. I did pick these up on... Where did I pick these up? I think I picked these up on Amazon if I'm not mistaken, but I will have a link to them in the description box as well. So now I'm taking a detailer brush and the Kira Sky acrylic gel top coat and I'm just really carefully going around the smile line of my French because I do want that area to stay matte. I'm also outlining my crystals and covering up those gold accents so that way they don't change color as fast. They are going to change color regardless, but they're just not going to turn as fast. I did go ahead and cure that in the light for just 30 seconds. Now I'm just applying my Kira Sky acrylic gel top coat to the pinky nail as well as my middle finger. I'm going to wipe down the sides to remove any excess gel and I'm popping my hand into the light and giving it a full final cure for 2 minutes. Now to cure my gel, I am using the Care Sky Beyond Pro Rechargeable LED light. And I do have the blue one. If you guys didn't notice, I have the blue e-file as well. And after curing these, the final thing that I do is I allow my gel top coat to cool all the way down before applying my cuticle oil. Today I am using one of my favorite cuticle oils. It is the Care Sky Rose Scented Cuticle Oil, and I absolutely love this one. I usually don't leave in me applying cuticle oil, but I always do it in every single video, whether I'm doing myself or on a client. It's always the last step when it comes to completing any nail design before I take pictures. Now I do have really dry cuticles, so I kind of go overboard when it comes to applying cuticle oil, especially on myself, but I do make sure that I rub it in really nicely, and this is so moisturizing and it just smells so good. So that is basically it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you learned something new. Go ahead and drop a comment in the comment section below. Leave me a snowflake emoji down below, seeing as that is the time that is quickly approaching. I absolutely love how this set came out. And there goes my neighbor's dog. I'm at the end of the video anyhow. I hope you guys are having an amazing day or night, whatever time it is where you're watching from right now. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. If you're not yet subscribed, click on that subscribe button down below and turn your notifications on so you don't miss out whenever I upload a new video. That is it for me. I hope you're having an amazing day or night, whatever time it is where you're watching from right now. As always, I would love you guys to stay glamorous, be safe, and I'll see you soon.